Okay, thanks. And what happens to a person who commits suicide? Does his soul experience something different from someone who experiences death at an old age?
Well, slightly. It can depend on the reasons for it. And the idea is that more often than not, it represents that there might be, shall we say, unfinished business, that they sort of cut their agreement short. So, nevertheless, they are wrapped in unconditional love. They are given an opportunity to assess why they made those choices, what was going on in the personality as a physical being that allowed them to feel they had no other choice. At the same time, they are still capable of having the choice as to how to finish the agreement. Because they made an agreement, the agreement must be followed through with. Now, how they follow through with it is up to them. They're still given the freedom to decide whether they want to experience the idea of another incarnation to play it out, whether they want to simply pursue following through with that in spirit or in another reality, in another dimension, in another civilization, as an incarnation or not. But the idea is that once you create a momentum by making an agreement to experience certain themes, you will in some way, shape, or form need to finish that because a momentum and inertia has been created and the momentum will carry you forward. But you can wait a while, you can reassess, you don't have to do it right away. You're not automatically pulled back into physical reality or anything like that. You are given an opportunity to discuss with your guides, with counsels, with anyone helping you, your soul family, to discuss what you got out of it, what you are learning, and what you want to do about completing the agreement in some way, shape, or form. You may complete it in a different way altogether, but you will choose ultimately to complete it because you're the one that initiated it from a particular perspective that it was important to do so for your soul's growth. And as a soul, once again, you will not abandon that reason. So you'll play it out in some way, shape, or form, but you're given more than enough opportunity to make the decision as to how to do that while you are wrapped in unconditional love and assisted by your guides and your soul family.
And how can the formula help you if you're going through the grieving experience?
Well, again, it's all right to momentarily experience the grief, missing something, missing someone that was in your life physically. But the longer that lasts, the more you actually prevent yourself from feeling the connection that is still there to the person, even though they're now back in spirit. So grief can ultimately be a block to communication because you are still experiencing your relationship to them as something that's lost, something that's missing. So we understand that in the moment, grief can be something that will simply allow you to come to terms with the idea that something has changed in your relationship with them. That's fine. That's what the grief is for. It's giving you an opportunity to examine yourself and your relationship with that person so that you can come to terms with the fact that something has changed. But now you have to get to a point where you realize that you're now dealing in a relationship with them where they are more than what they were. So you can now start to experience it with joy and congratulations that they have expanded back into their natural state, that they are experiencing unconditional love in their experience, that they are sending you that unconditional love, and they are urging you and encouraging you to reach out into spirit to know that they're all right and to know that that relationship will always exist no matter what is going on with them, because that's always going to be a piece of them. And it is always going to be important for their soul's growth to have had that relationship in physical reality with you. So grief ultimately needs to transform and gives you the opportunity to transform the idea of your relationship to them by letting go of the belief systems that you've lost something, that something is missing, and starting to reconnect to them in a bigger, larger, more expanded, more loving way.
Okay, and can you give your perspective on teachings that talk about waking up from this world and returning to God? There seems to be an idea out there that this is a world of ego and suffering, and that we are going to eventually wake up from this world and return to God, and then stay in that love forever. How does this reconcile with ideas of us being eternal creators who continue to learn and grow and explore forever? Is that just some negative part of our ego wanting that?
In some senses, yes. The idea is that if you have experienced a lot of, shall we say, of the tough school, the challenging school, and in a way where you experience the effort of transforming and overcoming negative and fear-based beliefs, then yes, you are longing for relief, you are longing for rest, and that's okay, and you can have that. But the idea is that once you go back into spirit and are wrapped in unconditional love and have had a chance to process and rest from the experience you chose to have in physical reality, whether positive or negative, it is now the soul's prerogative to understand that it doesn't want to remain at rest. It wants to move forward. It wants to grow. It wants to go with the flow of creation. And therefore, it will choose something, whatever that may be, again, to have an experience that will allow the soul to grow. So that never ends. But you are given an opportunity, as you say, to quote unquote, go back to God. And what that basically means is, yes, you can take a break. You can take a rest. You can have a soul vacation in order to allow yourself to process what you went through, to absorb it, to grow from it, and to determine from those lessons what it is you would next like to do that will allow your soul to continue to expand and to grow. Because once you are a soul, you can feel that urge much more strongly, that there is an actual inertia and a momentum to expand. And therefore, you will ultimately choose to continue to have another experience that will allow you to expand. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to incarnate back on Earth or anything like that. It's up to you. But you will choose to grow and expand because that's the nature of existence, is to be all that it is. And that never ends. So that growth, that expansion doesn't necessarily have to continue to be felt in a suffering way, in a way that tires you out, but you will choose to grow and expand after you have taken a break if you feel that a break is necessary. You are always allowed to move at your own pace. That is comfortable for you. You may forget that when you're in physical reality because of the nature of your belief system in physical reality that may make things seem to be too urgent. But once you are back in spirit, you will fall back into your natural flow, your natural pace, and you will take whatever amount of timelessness is necessary for you to decide, yes, I'm now excited to expand and move forward again in some way, shape, or form, and you will make the appropriate choice at that time.
And if we are only ever the person that we are now, like you say, and never become anyone else, how can we continue to evolve and have new experiences after the person that we are dies and the lifetime is over?
Well, this person is assuming that physical personality is something that in some way, shape, or form is all you are. So you will always continue to expand and grow and have different experiences, as I just described, in some way, shape, or form. And again, you can create an experience of reincarnation to appear to be a different person. But the idea is that it's just the way that your consciousness starts looking from a higher level through different eyes that all exist at the same time. So it's just a matter of changing the focus of what you are as a consciousness to have these different experiences that all exist simultaneously. So you will use that ability to grow and expand, but the person that you're looking through the eyes of, just to use that particular euphemism, that remains that person, but it doesn't mean you can't have an experience of being a different person, because in a sense, the person that you are familiar with that you are now is not who you are anyway. It's still eyes that you're looking through, and you have decided to look through other eyes, and you will decide to look through other eyes. And therefore, it's just a matter of focusing your consciousness in a way that gives you different experiences that allow you to grow, even though you are taking advantage of a structure that already exists. We know
And
that that
so,
explanation can be a little bit confusing, but nevertheless, that's the best we can do with your language.
actually, that's very helpful.
All right.
If all the parallel realities already exist and we never make changes to the structure, does it mean that the realities with pain and suffering will always be experienced by some part of consciousness?
Yes, nothing ever goes away. But again, you have to understand there are different ways to experience that concept. So there are many different ways to experience it. Sometimes you have experienced it in the way that you might call negatively. And yes, that's always a choice. It's always there. It's always part of the structure. So yes, the opportunity always exists. It has to, because some souls actually choose that for their own growth.
Okay, we have some ET questions I think I'll ask here. Could you explain why Sasani clothing is blue? What kind of clothes do people wear in Willa's society?
We have never said that all Sasani clothing is blue. I may have described some of the things I was wearing as blue at the time, but not all Sasani clothing is blue. We're not sure why you understood it that way. Nevertheless, there is a variety of color in Sasani clothing. A lot of it is similar, a lot of it is form-fitting, a lot of it serves many different functions, and we actually have said in the past that it can change color, and it can actually change its function, because it is a kind of nanotechnological suit that can become many things, including becoming a spacesuit. So it's not always the same color, and it's not always performing the same function. That's a misunderstanding. If we were not clear about that, we apologize.
So it almost
Now,
sounds
in
like
Willa's time, the clothing is a variety of things. Mostly, it is always very comfortable. It is relatively loose-fitting in many cases, although, again, there are exceptions based on the functionality of what it is that people choose to wear. But by Willa's time, a lot of people will simply wear what they're comfortable wearing. Sometimes even what might be considered to be a mix of older fashion styles and styles that may come from other planets as well.
And are there other members of your family that are currently being channeled through other people on Earth right now?
There are other members of the Sasani society that are being channeled, no other members of my family, except now and then you have heard my father come through on rare occasions.
Do you have siblings?
Yes, I have a sister that is engaged in the idea of the creation of the birthing villages that crop up now and then to allow Sasani children to be born.
Anybody else?
There are others. It is not time for me to talk about them.
Okay. And why is it that you're in a parallel reality 500 light years from Sirius and not just 500 light years from Sirius constellation?
No, you have misunderstood what we have said. We are in a parallel reality. Our solar system is about, if you were to overlap the realities, 500 light years in the direction of the Orion constellation from Earth. We have never said we are 500 light years away from Sirius. We are 500 light years away from Earth in the direction of the Orion constellation, not in the direction of Sirius.
And for those beings from other races, Pleiadian, for example, that have incarnated as a human in order to support humanity, what will they do after they leave the human body? Will they re-embody and rejoin their original family in the Pleiadian sense?
Well, some of them may not. It's up to them, isn't it? You're asking that question, whoever is asking it, as if there is simply one way for them to do things. They can decide what they will do next. Some of them may continue their Pleiadian journey. Some of them may continue a human journey on Earth. Some of them may go elsewhere. It's up to the individual to decide what is best for their soul.
Okay, and there is a symbol known as the flower of life, and it's been used by a number of different cultures. Can you
Yes.
tell us anything about this symbol? Is there any hidden meaning, and what could we learn from this symbol?
Yes. The symbol is a shorthand representation of the idea we have discussed of the double Fibonacci spiral overlapping one another in opposite directions, and bringing out the idea of the nodal points where the lines cross that represent the different states of energy and matter that form what you understand to be the physical and non-physical multiverse. So it's a shorthand symbol that represents the underlying structure, energetically speaking, in terms of a consciousness pattern of how all matter and energy is presented in the multiverse.
Okay. And do the Giza pyramids line up with Orion, and also do they line up with Cygnus, since that was where the Anunnaki originated?
The three main pyramids on the Giza Plateau do have some alignment with the idea of Orion and the three stars in the belt. They do not line up with Cygnus. And remember, these things were created long after the Anunnaki were gone. So there is no indication in the three pyramids of the idea of the Anunnaki's connection with Cygnus. It is not representative of that. It is representative of the Orion connection.
Okay. And you have described how crop circles on Earth are higher level communication with Gaia. Do phenomenon like crop circles occur on Essassani and other worlds? And how do they differ from those on Earth? And how do you relate to them?
They do in different ways and can actually form in different substances. The idea is that it can be experienced, as on our world and on some other worlds, as a very playful interaction with certain interdimensional levels of consciousness that communicate by making alterations in the electromagnetic energy of certain physical substances in physical reality. But they don't have to all appear in crops. Some of them can appear in water, some of them can appear in ice, some of them can even appear in solid matter, some of them can appear in the air. So it just depends on how the vibrational resonance of the civilization creates a medium for those interdimensional consciousnesses to be capable of projecting their communicational symbols. On Earth, it is used in crops because that is one of the natural ways you have of relating to the idea of Earth and the elementals, is in the things that supply sustenance to you as a human being. And so it's the easiest way to get your attention. It's the easiest medium to manipulate because you have an intimate relationship with the idea of crops because they feed you.
Hmm. And can you explain your role with the Ascended Masters? Are you working with them?
Yes, in many cases, we have actually mentioned this before, where in transmitting to your collective consciousness, we always also go through the different archetypal levels, which includes the Ascended Masters, in order to make sure that the information we are sharing with all of you does not in any way, shape, or form intervene or spoil the surprises you have created for yourself to discover. So yes, we are always working with them to determine the best way in which to deliver information that serves humanity best.
And is there a symbol we can meditate on to improve our sense of self-confidence?
You would have to examine the beliefs about why you are confident that you have no confidence. So allow yourself to understand there is no such thing as a lack of confidence, but you can be very confident that you have no confidence. So see the symbol of the yin yang, the paradox, that there is both sides blending together, creating what appear to be opposite ideas, but they're still part of one thing, and each contains a part of the other. Paradox. Just think paradox. When you think anything like that is lacking, I lack trust, I lack confidence, I lack power, understand from the point of paradox. The symbol, whatever symbol you like that represents paradox, be it the yin-yang symbol or even just the letter P, capital P, for paradox. Allow yourself to focus on that and understand the paradox in what you are saying. When you think you have little confidence or no confidence, remember you're confident about that. When you think you have no trust, you lack trust, you are trusting that idea. When you think you have no self-empowerment, no power at all, you're using your power and control to create that experience of lack of empowerment. So think of it in terms of paradox. Whatever symbol or letter represents paradox to you, to put you back in the center, in the neutral space between what appear to be two opposing ideas.
And how can we tell we're living in a split parallel reality dimension? You've spoken about it being like looking through glass. How do we know we're looking at a split reality or that we're not actually part of that reality?
You know it by when you follow the formula and you experience different things than other people are experiencing that may even seem almost impossible or contradictory to experience in a reality like what they're creating. You know by your own experience of what you are attracting into your life that you are existing in a different vibrational reality than they are.
Okay. And lastly, this person says, when I started listening to your transmissions, I was attracted to the crystal skull session as well as the sacred circuitry session. What is the connection between these two topics, and how can I best utilize this connection for contact?
The sacred circuits are representative of the idea of changing the neural pathways in your brain to be more capable of receiving higher frequency energy. The crystalline matrix, the molecular makeup of the crystal skulls, is a kind of representation of this idea that they have certain pathways within them, molecularly speaking, in the crystalline formation that allows them to collect and absorb and retain and transmit information that is in alignment with the rearrangements you have made of the neural net in your brain by following the sacred circuits, which make you a better antenna to receive the kind of higher frequency information that is stored in the skulls.
Okay, thank you.
You are welcome. So we thank you for these interactions, for allowing us to share these perspectives. And again, we encourage you to take the actions and the steps, if you're willing, to be able to align with open contact, to give others a chance to do so as well, to recognize the difference between theory and what has gone beyond theory because of your own research. Take the time to do so. Take the time to recognize when something has gone over the border from theory to fact. Even if it's still anecdotal, you can allow yourself to know the difference. But in this context, obviously, we are talking about the idea of contact with ETs, such as ourselves, with other interdimensional beings. But all of this comes down to having more contact within yourselves and with each other. Being a reflection of the idea of the interstellar alliance in your own reality. Mirroring that vibration, that energy. So, our unconditional love to you all, and we give you over now to the remainder of this transmission. Go into whatever receptive state, meditative state, relaxed state you so desire, you so prefer. And we encourage you, as always, to breathe and breathe and suggest at this time that you all allow yourselves to get into a relaxed position, to breathe deeply and easily. And as you are doing so, to add whatever you wish to add in terms of lights and sounds, music, what have you, eyes closed, eyes open, but relax and let go of the cares of the day. Keep breathing deeply, evenly, fully, in and out, in and out. And as you do so, we ask you to imagine a version of Earth where open contact is already happening in whatever way, shape, or form that seems relevant to you in a positive context. How you imagine it doesn't necessarily have to be literal. Just get involved in the vibrational feeling of what such a version of Earth would be like when your eyes are open to the fact that you are not alone among the stars, that there is a galactic family here for you, and that the actions that you are willing to take today can create the navigational tool that will shift you over and over and over and over again in the direction of the highest probability for open contact and membership and participation in the Interstellar Alliance in such a way that is to your best benefit and the benefit of all, in service to humanity, so that you can open up in your imagination what such a version of Earth would be like when there is freedom, when there is bounty, when everyone has truly what they need to thrive, when everyone knows how blessed they are, how appreciative they are for their lives, for the connections they have with their soul family, for the connections they have to all other individuals in humanity, and the deep appreciation for all the reflections that they are given from humans and ETs and spirit guides and source, from the angelic realm to parallel lives, and the awakening that would happen within you in the realization of all the connections and the dynamic interactions that you have constantly going on, that is continuously downloading information and experiences to you to allow you to use them to create your timeline, your life path, as you agreed to do, and as you allow yourself to become more and more and more open to expressing the fullness of your being, the fullness of your soul. And you feel in your heart, in your body, in your mind, in your spirit, the gratitude, the comfort, and the joy of what is truly your home in spirit, and seeing the earth and everyone on it and everyone connected to it as just another expression of spirit playing out for your purposes, for your choices, for your soul's growth, for your soul's realization of your full potential in beauty, in love, in service to all. Breathe it in. Breathe in this vision without insistence, without assumption as to what it would actually look like, but create your own version for now to allow the resonant frequency of open contact to permeate every cell of your being, of your body, of your soul. To know your true self and see it reflected in the eyes of joy of all the beings that will come to encounter you when open contact blossoms and blooms on the garden of earth that will allow your soul to sigh in its expression of release and freedom and joy. To sigh and let go. To take in all that you have learned. To cherish all the challenges that have helped you become in this moment of contact who you are, your willingness to be you, to participate, to be involved, to be engaged, and to be in love with humanity in all of its challenges, positive and negative, that have brought you to this point, in compassion and seeing through the eyes of all that is. Breathe it in and be free. Breathe it in and be yourself. Breathe it in and join us. Breathe it in and welcome home. To the home that has always been here, though it has been invisible for so long. You are in spirit right now. Welcome home. Our unconditional love to you all, in service to you, Avea. Good day and good night. All right, I'll say good day. We now deliver the Interstellar Alliance Social Experiment Step 3, where we introduce a specific action in the form of a communication to the officials on your planet, having to do with the idea of the revelation of information connected to what you term UFOs, UAPs, and extraterrestrial activities, information and knowledge. We have crafted a specific letter for you to send out. We have transmitted this through the channel with very specific wording. The wording of this letter should be given out verbatim, so it is up to you to copy it intact, adding nothing, subtracting nothing. It will serve a very specific purpose of timing for things that are to come up in your near future, and build a momentum of energy that can lead toward the acceleration of the probability of open contact on your planet. But again, it is up to you to decide to participate in sending this letter out in the way that it is instructed to do so. But again, the degree to which you are willing to participate in this will determine the vibrational state that is conducive to the idea of open contact and being in alignment with the Interstellar Alliance. Again, completely in your hands as to what degree you participate in this. But there are specific reasons for the timing of this, as instructed in the letter, and the way in which it is presented, how it is worded. There are things that it will connect to. There are chords, in a sense, that it will strike within different people in very specific ways. We have, to some degree, in a limited fashion, done a similar experiment with you before as a kind of beta test to see how many people would participate. And this leads us to the creation of this version of it now that we are actually in the Interstellar Alliance social experiment. And this takes the form of step 3 to increase your activity, your physical activity, your engagement, your involvement in your world, specifically along these lines, specifically in this vibration, in this energy, to again gauge the degree of willingness that you have to present yourself in a certain way, to establish yourself within a certain frequency, within a certain vibration, and to state clearly from your particular perspective as an individual member of the Interstellar Alliance the things that are relevant and important for activities in the world, for directions to be taken, for actions to be taken on your part and the part of others that will allow more probability to bring about the idea of open contact and to accelerate the timing of such. And so, to this purpose, in the delivering of step 3, Nania, I will ask you to read the Interstellar Social Experiment Step 3 out loud to share with all and allow them to know that a download of this will be available for them to use in the way that it is instructed within what you are about to read. So please proceed.
Interstellar Alliance Social Experiment. Step 3. Send the following letter by email or regular mail to every government representative in Congress, Senate and House, and all party members, as well as to the presidents, premiers, scientific, military, and political leaders of every country on Earth every 3 months until they take action as requested. And the letter should say, "Dear," and you name the person, "despite military, scientific, and political statements to the contrary, we believe that UFOs or UAPs do not represent a threat of any kind to national or global security or humanity at large. There is overwhelming and well-researched evidence and thousands of eyewitness accounts that these objects have been present throughout Earth's history without detrimental effect on the day-to-day affairs of humanity. Without supporting or promoting any related conspiracy theories, we believe that certain organizations are withholding knowledge of this phenomenon out of an irrational fear and for self-serving reasons. It's time for the secrets to end and a program of transparent public education to begin in service to humanity. Therefore, we respectfully but strongly request that you, in your official capacity, immediately and publicly disclose and release, within 1 year from your receipt of this letter, any and all information in your possession, or that you are aware of being in another person's possession, regarding UFOs, UAPs, and any and all indications of extraterrestrial life, activities, and technologies, and that you publicly state your support for the complete release of all such information without limitation, editing, redaction, ridicule, or falsification. Please be aware the members of this social movement intend to vote for and elect only those leaders and representatives who publicly and actively support and promote such disclosure, and with our votes, replace all officials who do not. Thank you. And this is from the Interstellar Alliance Social Experiment Group.
Thank you, Nania. When this download is made available to you, again, you may copy it, send it out as requested every 3 months, and when enough people do this, and the officials continue to receive these letters over and over and over again, and you allow yourself to do your research with regard to who is willing to support this idea publicly and to ensure and assure that your votes will change those representatives should they not follow the requests involved in this transmission, then we will see how on your planet the idea of public opinion, the idea of public preference, the idea of the ability of the public to, as you say, move the needle on a subject in a direction that you prefer will take effect to whatever degree you participate, to whatever degree you understand that you are your governments, to whatever degree that you will stand up and declare for yourself the ideas that are connected to the larger galactic family to which you belong, and your passion at experiencing the vibration of contact, the vibration of the interstellar alliance, and the changes that you may make in shifting to versions of Earth that are more and more and more representative with each transmission you send out to act as a navigational tool to move you in the direction of the version of Earth that will be more and more and more representative of open contact, so that you may experience an acceleration toward that end. So it is of critical importance for those willing to participate that you allow yourself to send it out. We understand again that some of these challenges may require action on your part. You may need to rearrange some schedules in order to send them out to all of the individuals that are suggested within the letter. But again, the degree to which you are willing to participate, the degree of fullness to which you participate will make a difference, and the degree to which a lot of those individuals will receive these transmissions will also let them know what the general population prefers and what the general population will support or not support in moving forward toward the end of open contact. So, every 3 months is sufficient, considering the volume of the letters that will be sent out again and again, the same letters over and over. You will eventually see an effect. And we will be watching, we will be gauging, we will be observing, again, as a barometer, to what degree the needle is moving toward open contact and away from fear and secrecy. So we thank you for your participation ahead of time. And in return for your willingness to participate in this social experiment and your willingness to take action on step 1, step 2, and step 3, for remember, you do not stop doing the original steps. You keep doing everything as best you can, and you add to it with every step that we deliver to you. So, in return for this, I ask you now, in what way may we continue to be of service to you? Please begin with your questions and your dialogue, if you wish. And to you, good day. Speak up, so that all may hear what you have to share.
Okay, so a couple weeks ago, I had a dream where I looked up and saw a bunch of spaceships.
Yes.
And one
I
came down to
sometimes
me.
have that without being asleep because I don't sleep anymore.
That's awesome. So one came down to me, and the being that came out, I ran up and gave him a big hug, and I was crying and sobbing, and it felt like I really had missed him.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, so I've connected with him through meditation
Yes.
since, and I'm wondering if you can tell me what race he is.
You're dealing with another hybrid race, primarily what we would label the Yael. In any such encounters that are going on between you and extraterrestrial beings, you will usually find that you will have at least one counterpart in that society that will be involved in the encounters so that they feel familiar and are a reflection of more of you. So in a sense, it's like meeting another version of yourself.
Okay, so he is my counterpart?
Yes.
Awesome. So in the dream, I got on a ship and went out to space and saw the Earth get really small. So was that physical or was it?
Well, yes and no. You have to understand that many of these encounters actually happen in a slightly shifted version of physical reality that allows you to experience more than you otherwise might in your typical physical reality. So yes, it was physically real, but not in your physical dimension exactly.
Okay. Do I have hybrid children?
Yes.
How many have a significant amount of my DNA?
Again, the average is usually about 15 to 17.
Okay, so you've mentioned the possibility of hybrid children living on Earth as soon as 2022. Is that still accurate?
No.
No? Okay.
I said the window of open contact is between 2025, 2033, maybe 2040. I did not say the hybrid children would be landing at the beginning. Somewhere in there, things will be set up so that they can begin to stay longer and longer and longer on your planet in certain areas that are sequestered and safe for them to acclimate and adapt to your society as your society acclimates to them. But the idea is that some of them have been on your planet and do come to your world from time to time in secret places that are set aside for them so they can practice what it's like being on Earth. Because many things that you take for granted are very alien to them. So they have to learn the idea of how to fit into your society to some degree, although they won't go all the way with it because human society must also adapt to them to some degree as well. But they're willing to learn, and they're quite fascinated by some things that you don't even really think about, like eating food off a plate with a fork. Why? Why not just take the food and put it in your mouth with your hand? So they have a lot of things to sort of learn to fit in a little bit. But they do that on your planet from time to time in houses and apartments that you don't necessarily even know that they happen to be in. They might even be right next door.
Wow. Okay, so I wanted to talk about being a bridge to the higher dimensions.
Yeah.
So when I'm meditating and I can converse and see in my mind my hybrid children,
Yes.
What reality is that? And what does that look like on their end for?
Well, again, you're communicating through that slightly altered reality that we just mentioned. And therefore, they're receiving it, in a sense, sort of telepathically from you.
Okay. So is it helpful or important to be making these emotional and like relationship connections with them?
Is it helpful and important to you?
Yes.
Well, then the answer is yes.
Okay.
Because they will feel the importance to you. And that will allow them to begin to identify and empathize with those feelings and understand them more clearly.
Okay. So earlier this week, I had a really powerful meditation where I felt like I was speaking with you. And was that really you, or was it just...
You're just tapping into the vibration that you recognize as our collective consciousness through your own higher mind. So what you were doing, which is what you're doing right now, was speaking a little bit more clearly to your own higher mind, using us as a filter or a mask to do so.
Okay. And what is my vibration?
Are you sure you want to know? Because remember, as soon as you ask, it goes down.
Well, mostly my question was, I've really been meditating a lot and it's felt really good. It's been
all right. That's
my
fine.
highest passion. And
but
I'm
are you taking actions as well?
Yes.
All right. Because remember, that's the language of physical reality.
Okay.
Not just meditating. You have to act to be in the world. So, do your meditations help you take more actions in the direction of your passion?
Yes.
All right. Are you sure? Didn't sound very convincing.
I've been taking a lot of action the last year.
Yes.
And it's felt like I've been really just outside and not really going inside. And so I've been feeling really called to
all
go
right.
inside
You can
lately.
balance it out. That's fine.
Yeah, I am excited to take more action
All right.
soon.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, beloved Bashar.
And good day to you.
Good day to you.
Speak up, please, so that all may hear
Okay,
you.
I've been listening to you many years ago, and I'm very grateful to be here.
All right.
I've been doing a lot of work inwardly for self to grow and to become more of who I am.
Yes.
And I'm creating a sacred of meditation in my house with people that coming over.
All right.
And I do believe with water and air and all the 7 things that you've been provide tonight. The thing is that I've been asking is about my son, that he's back in my house and he stay all night with the heater, and he doesn't really drink enough water. And if you have a way for me to
What are you asking? Should you tie him down and force feed him?
No.
Well,
just that.
have you had conversations about why, and does he actually feel like he's not getting enough?
He would listen to others, but not to his parents, I guess.
Have you had a conversation about why he doesn't listen to your advice?
Usually kids don't listen to their parents.
That's not the case on my planet.
I know, but here it's a little bit different.
Well, I understand that. But do you also understand he may have his own path in life?
I totally agree with you.
All right.
The thing is that, like you said...
I have a suggestion for you.
Okay, thank you.
Let's call it the Santa Claus effect. Yes?
Yes.
Leave a pitcher of water and a glass out for him when you go to bed. Maybe in the night he will sneak over and have some water without you necessarily knowing about it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes? Just give him the option. Don't tell him what to do.
No, and you're absolutely right. I do that. I just put...
But you leave water out?
Yes, I do put water.
When you're not around?
When I'm not around?
Yes, when you go to bed,
yeah,
leave water out.
Okay.
So that you're not around, so that he can have it when you're not around.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, and for the heater that is a whole night long, and there's no air in this room, no windows open, nothing.
Is he cold?
He always said that he's cold.
All right.
But then there's no air at all for all
There
night.
must be some, or he would suffocate. Remember, that's the first basic need, and without air, you'll probably be dead in about 2 minutes.
Yeah, but I can see that he has like the eyes swollen. I can see he's very fatigued and...
All right. Well, have you had a conversation about the fact as to whether or not he enjoys that feeling?
I do, but as I said, that he doesn't listen to his
I didn't
parents.
say that you had to say something he had to listen to. Okay. I said, have you had a conversation about whether or not he enjoys that effect?
If he's enjoying that?
Yes. Ask him. Look, your eyes are kind of puffy and swollen and so on and so forth, and you seem very tired. Do you enjoy that feeling? I'm just curious.
Okay, I will ask him
You
that
see?
for sure.
Then it's not about him listening to you. It's about you paying attention and giving him options to respond in the way that he prefers to respond.
Okay.
Yes?
Yes.
All right. And again, he doesn't have to answer. Just pose the question. He'll go through it in his mind, and maybe he'll decide that he needs to make different choices to have different consequences. Mm-hmm. But you're being the one that's imaginative enough to simply get the ball rolling in his own mind without making him think he has to listen to you. Mm-hmm. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right. You need to be a little bit more imaginative, and we don't mean this in a negative way, a little bit more sneaky.
Oh.
So that you can inspire him to think about things without him feeling that he is being told what to do.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Thank you.
You just have to exercise your curiosity. Because again, if that really is his path, if that's something he believes he needs to do, then the only thing coming from you in your unconditional love and support is, well, I'm curious. Do you find that sensation interesting or enjoyable? Or let me know. I'm kind of curious. And then walk away. You don't even have to finish the conversation.
Thank you very, very much, Bashar.
You're very, very welcome.
There's anything else that you see from what I do for self, doing work and...
Are you acting on your passion to the best you can with no insistence or assumption on the outcome and remaining in a positive state no matter what manifests?
Yes.
Don't lie.
I didn't hear the whole question, but I understand.
All right. Then that's just my curious question. So you can go think about it.
I will.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Bashar.